Gender. Gender, put simply, is what makes a man, and what makes a woman, well, a woman. From the day we were born, we've been taught all sorts of things about our gender. These ideas that were taught to us, in turn, shape who we become as adults. The ideas that boys are more physically capable and girls are more maternal and emotional, these are called gender roles. But to properly define what gender roles are, we have to look at the existing definitions of gender. Gender typically falls into two categories, the male and the female. Gender is often used interchangeably with sex, but that should not be the case. Gender refers to the meaning, values, and characteristics that are generally attributed to the sexes, whereas sex refers only to the biological aspects of a person. This brings us to gender roles, which is defined as a blanket term for the jobs, duties, and attributes that people are expected to abide to based off their respective sex. Our first understandings of gender come from our first sources of socialization, that being mom and dad. As we grow older, this group widens. Now it's not just mom and dad that's showing us how to act. These could be the other kids from school, or teachers, the neighborhood kids. The list goes on and on. All these people help contribute to our understanding of how we should act as little boys and girls. We, in turn, bring this to adulthood. But what happens when things don't go the way as everyone expects? Say, if a boy found out that he really wanted to learn how to dance, but all his life he was told that dancing is for girls. Suddenly, all these things that we learned as kids start to blur. This is where gender roles start to become a problem. You see, while gender helps to organize society into specific roles, it also restrains many individuals for the same reasons. For example, in the Philippines, parents tend to prefer having sons over daughters, some even willing to keep having children till they eventually birth a son, just so their families have a breadwinner for when they eventually retire. Another example of this would be how women were not given the right to vote till 1937, and that's in the Philippines alone. Women in the United States gained their right to vote during the 1920s. More surprisingly, women in Saudi Arabia were only granted the right to vote in 2015. By these alone, we can see how big of an effect gender roles really has on society. They play a big part in how we as a people perceive and treat the people around us, and vice versa. If you want to learn more about gender roles and how you might be affected by them, visit www.hequalshe.com or visit our social media pages.